let's begin with security matters, where the Department of State Services says it has intercepted criminal gangs in various parts of the country, including a suspected 6-man criminal gang at Gegubeki along the Lokoja-Abuja Road. And that's according to the spokesperson of the service, Peter Afunaya, who stated that the interception was done during a joint operation with other security agencies in Kogi State, where they recovered 1 pump-action rifle, 4 cartridges, 1 AK-47 empty shell. Mr. Afunaya said operatives also apprehended a 20-year-old suspected notorious kidnapper named Haruna Adamu with 1 AK-47 rifle, 1 magazine, and 4 rounds of 7.62 millimeter live ammunition in Adamawa State on March the 25th. The DSS spokesperson also said they arrested a suspected gun runner along Kubwa Expressway in Abuja and 1 Babangida Ibrahim, an arms courier, to bandits in Zamfara State. And joining us for more on this development is the CEO, PR24 Management and fellow Nigerian Institute of Industrial Security, Oyekachi Adekoya. Good to have you join us.
Thank you for having me, and good afternoon to the viewers.
So, are we seeing heightened criminal activities and tension just on the back of the election? Because we're now seeing the DSS also issuing a warning against those who are planning any form of violent protest in the country. Mr. Oyekachi, can you hear me? I want to be sure that we still have connection with you, Mr. Oyekachi. Can you hear me?
I can hear you now, but I lost the question.
All right. So I was asking you if some of the criminal activities, because that we're seeing now, as the DSS just made several arrests, and some of the tension we're also seeing now is on the back of the just concluded general elections, so much so that the DSS had to issue a warning against those planning violent protests in the country.
Yes, if you're asking about the alert put up by the Department of State Services, I'm sure they've seen a number of movements to spook them a bit to have issued that statement. That's also coming on the background of the petition written to the commission, to the agency, sorry, by the senior advocate Festus Keyamo. But importantly, post-election cycle like this, it will take some time to mop up some of the arms used to deploy violence against would-be voters. So that will take about another 6 months. So what we're seeing now is symptomatic. There's a lot of small and light weapons in circulation that needs to be mopped up. Until that is mopped up, there's the usual spike post-election because of the amount of arms in circulation. We are also seeing an uptick in reported cases of kidnap for ransom in the north and in the south, aside the protest culture. So it's a bit difficult for the DSS to manage the security side and then manage the would-be protests that are planned that can be hijacked. So I think that their notice is out of an abundance of caution and it's rather precautionary.
And one would have thought that because you sort of linked the criminal activities and the ammunition, light arms was seen now being confiscated by the DSS to the election. But one would have thought that by now, by reason of the beavers, we shouldn't have that level of light arms. People know that, look, this election is going to be free and fair. But why do we still have people arming political thugs during the election? And how much work is this for the DSS in terms of trying to mop up the light arms?
I would say to the contrary, that because you have beavers and some of the politicians in their machinations know that without voter suppression and voter intimidation in some parts of the opposition strongholds, they may not be able to achieve some of their objectives. So Beavers has worked. In the gubernatorial cycle, IREV has worked. What we need to do as Nigerians now is to now put in place measures that will mitigate the risk of violence during the elections. I think sometimes we're a bit short-sighted in our preparations. Sometimes we are always nearing towards a fire brigade approach towards some of these issues. If we take an incremental approach, we will appreciate the fact that for this election cycle, technology has played a major role which previous cycles could not achieve. So what we now need to layer on the success of this, the relative success of this election, is to then add protection around the polling units and in and around the outer area. For the DSS and how much work they have to do, I would rather say that the police is the lead agency for internal security. The DSS has to do with matters of threat to the state, perhaps because of the treasonous nature of the tone and the rhetoric we're hearing. That's why the DSS is putting out a notice. But I think that the bigger problem lies with the police. It also lies with our criminal justice system, the ability of INEC to prosecute and make example of electoral offenders. I also know that the NBA has offered to prosecute for INEC some of the cases that INEC has. So let's hope that the provisions of the electoral law as amended 2022 would be tested in courts via the support provided by the NBA. And maybe when we begin to achieve some prosecution, then people can begin to think twice, at least at the next election cycle. If we can make the price and the cost of political violence a bit steep, then maybe we may be able to discourage some people who think it as an option. But until we are able to achieve that, sadly, we will continue to have some of these issues with us. So that's my own assessment, and that's why we continue to have these issues of political violence.
And the DSS seems to have its work cut out for it post-election. We've seen also petitions being sent to the DSS over inciting comments made by some individuals. But we'll see how the DSS responds to all of these issues. CEO, PRO24 Risk Management and fellow Nigerian Institute of Industrial Security, Oyekachi Adekoya, thank you so much for talking to us.
Thank you for having me.